many people who say we are Muslims. What do we bring to the world in which we live in? What do we bring to our families? What do we bring to our friends? What do we bring to our relatives? What do we bring to our neighbors? What do we bring to our peers and colleagues? And employers and employees? What do we bring to the Christians and the Jews and the Hindus? We bring another religion, that's the way we practice it. So they say, why do you want to bring your religion? I already have a religion. Because there's no shortage of religion. But there is a paucity and a dearth and an acute shortage of the deen of Allah. This lofty expression of Allah that will take humanity out of darkness and lead them onto light without them being followers of religion. Because this word religion doesn't exist in the Qur'an. It's a man-made version of the Muslims. And I spoke last week telling us that to get out of the mess that we are in, and we are in a lot of mess, I can tell you that. Study the Muslim world. Whichever part of the world you can think of, study them. Study their economics, study their politics, study their education, study their sociology, study their culture. They are far away from the deen of Allah. They are individuals perhaps. They are families perhaps. They are little groups here and there perhaps. Which is a good thing. But little groups and little families don't set the standards in society. That's a step in the right direction. But who makes the decision? The decision that motivates people in society is not the decision of what is loftiest and sublime and exalted and excellent. It's the decision of the majority. And because the majority is not educated about the most educated book, they read it like parrots. That is why week after week, month after month, Ramadan after Ramadan, there's very little changes with individuals, with families, with communities and with societies and nations. But Allah told us in chapter 2 verse 256 that I quoted last week, that nobody can force the system of Allah into us. The system of Allah does not depend upon name, which almost the whole Muslim world is crazy about, naming themselves with Arabic names or Persian names or Urdu names. That's the big thing. If somebody from the outside come and say, I want to be part of the Muslim community, what's your name? John, Tom, Harry, Dick, Sheila. No, you can't have that name. We have to give you an Arabic name. This is cultural influences. There is no evidence of this in the Qur'an. The Qur'an doesn't teach you and me to change name or to change clothing. Look at us, what we have done to the world. Think what we have done to the world. We fight the world to change names. As we have done to our own children, we give them great names. We emphasize that they've got to change their clothing. But we haven't changed the paganism in ourselves. How could we have changed the paganism in the lives of our own children? This is the backwardness that we have done to the world. And that is why the average Muslim, when he meets the world, what they meet? Somebody with some kind of an Arabic sounding name. Nothing wrong with Arabic sounding name. But we make it look that this Islam requires you to have an Arabic sounding name. Or to dress like an Arab. But we are way behind when it comes to purging ourselves of the Jahiliyyah of the Arabs. So the Qur'an tells us we need to make changes. And what is the change? The Qur'an says, فَمَنْ يَكْفُرْ بِالطَّاغُوتِ وَيُؤْمِن بِاللَّهِ. This is one of the mightiest challenges to every human being. Tawhud. Today in the world, there is a big issue that has been built up over the years. Everybody almost speaks in the name of God without reference to the book of God. If you go to the average Muslim, you go to the Muslim boy who's in college and university, and quote unquote, who is religious, or you go to the average mother or father or grandmother or grandfather who's religious, and you ask them something, more than often they will quote for you the opinion of the scholars. The Sheikh said so, my Imam says so, my Mufti says so, my peer says so. Everybody is quoting somebody else. Is this what Allah asked you and me to do, to learn? There is no place for individuals to precede the text and the guidance of Allah Almighty. And that is why you find the majority of the people, they are not part of learning. They are not part of learning. Because why? This is not their culture. They were brought up in a community where they have a sheikh who does everything for them to put them right with God. And this is what they do. They have a sheikh to recite the Qur'aan so they feel nice. They have a sheikh to make dua for them so they feel nice. They have a sheikh to marry them so they feel nice. They have a sheikh to bury them so they feel nice. So this is their relationship. But learning the Qur'an as we learn the various professions that we represent in life, you hardly find people with that commitment. Because if we learn the Qur'an, we'll have to give up. We'll have to give up the religion of our forefathers. You hear that? We'll have to give up the religion of our forefathers, because this was the challenge of the Arabs in the time of the Prophet. That when the Prophet came with the book of Allah, and the Qur'an bears testimony to it, وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمُ اتَّبِعُوا, and when it is said to them, turn away from that which you were accustomed to, and which even your dear fathers and mothers and grandfathers and elders have told you about, قَالُوا وَإِذَا قِيلَ لَهُمُ اتَّبِعُوا مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ قَالُوا بَلْ. They said, no way. No way. بَلْ نَتَّبِعُ, we will always follow مَا whatsoever أَلْفَيْنَا عَلَيْهِ آبَاءَنَا. We will always follow what we found our parents and foreparents doing. And here is the expression of Allah. أَوَلَّوْ. What? أَوَلَّوْ, even though أَوَلَوْ كَانَ آبَاؤُهُمْ, even though their parents and foreparents لَا يَعْقِلُونَ شَيْئًا, didn't comprehend any matter of substance, didn't comprehend any matter of substance of divine guidance. وَلَا يَهْتَدُونَ, and they have no reference from divine guidance that we are doing this because of this. This is the biggest woe of the Muslim individual, man and woman, father, mother, wife, husband, daughter and son. And it's the biggest problems of the community. Because you generally are not part of the studentship in this community. And anybody can stand up and tell you anything. And because your whole focus to get blessings, you feel to come to a place for Jummah is a blessing. Because somebody told you if you miss 3 Jummah you become a kafir. I told the Muslims, you have become kafir before that. When you abandon divine guidance and you adopt the culture of your forefathers instead of the deen of Allah, that's the biggest kufr. If you understand the meaning of kufr. Kufr is, you don't become a mu'min because you go masjid, you don't get no blessings. There's no hole in this roof, thank God.